Hi, this is Atmir with the Valentine's Day edition of the Bulletin Board Heroes for all you lovers of charting. Starting off with the FTSE 100, and even though the Dow fell down, the FTSE actually rebounded. We're back above the 200-day moving average, 75.47, and poised maybe for an end-of-day close above the 50-day line, 7600, to take us up to the top of that rising trend channel from August as high as 7800. On the downside, which now seems less likely, the break of 7500. And yesterday's low could take us down to the floor of the channel there, around 74.40. But at the moment, with today's bravado performance, actually looks as though the FTSE is going to revive. The only thing missing maybe is an end-of-day close for the RSI back above neutral 50 versus 48 at the moment. Moving on to the DAX, and here we bounced, so far bounced off the floor of this very steep rising trend channel from back in October. The top of the channel there heading towards the 17,800, 17,900 zone. That would be a theoretical target for the end of next month if we can get a proper clearance of recent resistance around 17,000 to 17,100. On the downside, initial support there, 16,750. Worst case, perhaps, down to 16,500 and January, or the January support area. Moving on to the Dow, where we were fearing that it was a bit too much, too good to be true, etc., and we've broken out of that very steep rising trend channel from October. That's around 38,500, the broken line, and the risk now is of a test of the 50-day moving average, 37,500. Obviously, we can adjust the price channel accordingly, given the latest price action that we've had, but at the moment, 38,500, and then the 50-day line, 37,600 or so, the levels to keep an eye on. Moving on to Bitcoin, which seems to be cheering its supporters on a daily basis at the moment. We were previously looking for 52,000 by the end of next month. It looks like we'll get that by the end of this month. Obviously, we don't want to jinx it, but the level there around 52,800 and that top of that August rising trend channel. I did actually bring in the steeper line there yesterday, which is pointing to 60,000, and that would be a target for the end of next month. While, if we get an end-of-day close through that 52,500 area over the next few sessions. On the downside, now not expecting anything much lower than 49,000, which was last month's resistance. Moving on to gold, and here you can see that the market has done what we didn't want it to do, i.e. break back below the 50-day line and head towards the floor of that rising trend channel from back in March last year. 1990, the level there, and got the 200-day line just below at 1983. We'll need at least an end-of-day close back above the 50-day line at 2042 to get this market back on track. And even if you're aggressive and you say the initial February support there, 2032, is the level, the trigger level, it does look as though this market wants to test the floor of that rising trend channel. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with an requested stock, which is also one which is on the front foot at the moment. Here we've got 88 Energy, which after the best part of a year looks like it's breaking its downtrend, and the 50-day line at 0.24. Above that, the initial target there at the 200-day line at 0.32, hopefully over the next few sessions. Best case by the end of next month would be up to 0.45. For this market, backed by an extended bullish divergence line in place since August last year. You can see that we had higher lows for the RSI even after that gap down that we had at the end of November. Moving on to a company which managed to raise a shed load of money, Amaroq Minerals, and here you can see that hasn't put a foot wrong really over the last year or so. Rising trend channel, a wide one there from the beginning of last year. Top of that channel currently pointing as high as 85 pence, and we're looking for that perhaps by the end of next month or even sooner, especially while we remain above the 50-day line at 69 pence. You can also see there was an unfilled gap to the upside last week, and that's also providing, or should provide, further momentum for this situation. The other final positive is the way that on this chart, new supporters tended to come in at or well above old resistance, which you only see in the strongest of situations. Speaking of strong situations, that may be the definition of Belluscura at the moment. We've got a broadening triangle base here, and we've got several very strong candles opening at the low, closing at the high for 4 days, and a gap higher through neckline resistance around 20 pence above 20. We're looking for up to 28 by the end of next month, backed by that rising trend, rising 50-day moving average, and also the way the RSI is pushed through neutral 50 as well. But those very strong candles are very encouraging, as is the unfilled gap to the upside. On to Challenger, which tends to live up to its name in terms of the volatility. We've got a rising trend channel here, though, from August. Top of the channel, they're heading for 0.15 pence, and that's certainly valid while we hold above the rising 50-day moving average at 0.1 pence. Moving along to Hydrogen Utopia, where it's got a little flick to the upside. We've got a sideways shuffle above a rising 50-day line, well above a rising 50-day line. That suggests that we're not far away from a break of that resistance line there from back in April at 6.2 pence, and then maybe a journey by the end of next month towards the 9 pence level. Upside valid here, at least while we're above that 50-day line of 5.1 pence. On to Karelian, and here you can see that we've got this broadening triangle base. We've got a little consolidation above a rising 50-day line. Normally good news when you have a rising 50-day line near the lows. We've also had a bear trap rebound from below the December support there at 2.1 pence. All of that pointing to 3.1 pence, hopefully as soon as the end of next month, and maybe with a bit of luck and that charting setup that we have at the moment, as soon as the end of this month. Next situation is requested stock, and here we can see that MyHealthChecked is making progress within a rising trend channel from back in August. Top of the channel there, 15 or 16 pence rather. Looking for that by the end of this month, and that would also fill the gap down from August. If you're a fan of the shares and looking for greater glory, then that could be along the lines of the line I'm actually drawing at the moment, up to the 21 pence area by the end of next month. But let's see if the shares can at least remain above that 50-day line at 11 pence to give us that potential upside. Moving along to one of the stocks of the last few weeks, which is Microsalt, and here the shares have famously doubled from their IPO level at 43 pence. And as you can see, even though there wasn't much charting data, we were onto that pretty quickly. We had the rising 50 and 200-day lines, and we got this rising trend channel from the beginning of the month. Top of that channel currently heading to 102 pence, and we're looking for that while the shares remain above basically the 75 pence area, which is that uptrend line. Let's see if Salt can step up to the plate, especially with all those very blue candles. In fact, only one red candle since the company came to market. That must be some kind of record. Onto Predator, where I acknowledge some of the speculation on X that something's going on here, something positive, obviously. That said, on the basis of the shares bouncing off this August support line there, just around 11.75 pence. Looking for the shares to at least head up to 14.75 over the next, well, over the rest of this month. And I suppose if you are looking for a big win, it would be along the lines of the line that I'm just drawing now, up to 19 pence, maybe for the end of next month. But obviously that's only valid while we hold above 11.75. Final point to note, well, final points to note actually, are the double bounce of the RSI off neutral 50, which tends to be a leading indicator on the upside. We've had an unfilled gap to the upside through the 50-day line. That was last month, and then the 50 and 200-day lines both rising at the moment, heading for a golden cross hopefully in the next week or two. In the run-up to a golden cross tends to be the strongest part in the cycle, so Predator certainly got it going on all the technical aspects at the moment. Moving along to Polarean, where one sort of tempting fate here with this rising trend channel base. I'm suggesting that these two very strong candles that we've had this week after the consolidation, flat consolidation, are no accident. And as little as an end-of-day close above a rising 50-day line near the low, so that would probably be 6.8 or 6.9 pence or higher, could take us up to 9.75 pence as soon as the end of this month. If that works, I would be quite encouraged. Onto one of the stocks of the past week, which was covered here firstly at 14 pence on Friday. We managed to head up to as high as 70 pence plus, I think 71 pence, the top of the range yesterday. Current situation is that we're looking for consolidation. Probably the old level there on the way down was around 37 pence, so ideally we stay above that. Otherwise, there is a risk of heading back to our initial target there around 24 pence. But hopefully, shares will find support in the mid-30s and then retest the 200-day moving average area around 64 pence, but would give it till the end of next month for the dust to settle on that one. An unlikely contender here today comes in the form of Petards, and not in alphabetical order, but here we had a gap close buy signal there around the 4 pence level. That was last month. Unfull gap to the upside through the 50-day line and another gap up today. So bear trap gap reversal, everything going on in terms of the potential turnaround. Plus we've got a rising trend line in the RSI window. That suggests that we should easily break the 200-day line and head up towards 8.3 pence by the end of this month. It also suggests that maybe there's something interesting going on there in terms of the fundamentals. On to Tekcapital, which owns most of, the majority of Microsalt. Surprising that the shares are not much higher than they are. We've got this sort of V-shaped or W-shaped bull flag here, and one would suspect that all it will take is an end-of-day close through 14.3 pence, and that May resistance line to take the shares up to 21 pence by the end of next month. Certainly the valuation of Microsalt will or does justify that. Finishing off with Valereum from the Aquis market. And here you can see that the shares have done perhaps what you would expect them to do given the crypto type of atmosphere around the company. Here we had our initial target there around 5.4 pence, and above that we're now looking for 7.5 pence, hopefully by the end of this month. If you're a fan of the shares and looking for greater glory, then the resistance line I'm just drawing at the moment up to 9.5 pence could be the end of March target on that situation, while we remain above that 5.5 pence area. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.